Okay, so we're here with Adam Friedman from CAA, and my name is Alana Laforet, and I am the publisher of Decrypt. Decrypt is a crypto publication, and we cover learning topics to bring in outside forces and also inside baseball of all things crypto. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Sure. Do you want to talk about what you do at CAA and some of your current projects and where you are right now?
Yeah, for sure. So let me just mute my this in the background. I've got these things coming on my.
That's okay.
So I've been at CAA almost 9 years. Wear a couple different hats. So I sit on our venture partnership with NEA. Called Connect Ventures, where we're looking at sort of early stage consumer investing across the board. And we launched it last summer, and super exciting for us to really sort of play in the space in a meaningful way. And then sort of day to day on the CA side, I sit in a group called Global Client Strategy, really focused on business building and all things entrepreneurial around our clients. And most relevant, obviously, to our conversation today, am now helping spearhead all of our activity across the NFT space, across the agency, getting organized and really sort of putting a business in place together for us.
Amazing. Great. So NFTs are the hot topic these days, and we've had a lot of interest from so many walks of life, from artists to Hollywood stars to my mom who wants to create an NFT. So from your vantage point, what is the opportunity in the NFT space for your clients at CAA?
Yeah, I mean, I think the opportunity, there's short-term and longer term. I think the short-term opportunity is for those clients who really want to play in the space now, to jump in and start experimenting, and to utilize the fact that all of our clients are really creative in their own rights. That's what they are. They're artists in every sort of sense of the word. And so, whether they are putting out a piece of digital art as an NFT, or experimenting with something in the music space, or really just experimenting with a new creative medium, for those folks right now, I would say, the short-term piece is getting these NFTs out there and sold. I think the longer-term play for us as we think about this is, what are the implications in the industry for our talent clients and clients really across the board. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of the sort of more innovative capabilities of this space really come to play. I think tokenization, for example, is going to be huge as it relates to many of our clients who have just such rabid fan bases across the board, whether they be filmmakers, musicians, athletes, actors and actresses, brands we represent, teams, leagues, you name it.
For sure. And so for the layperson who's watching this, tokens are really just digital entities, or even you can think about it as rewards points in some cases, where you can use them like Bitcoin or Ether to trade. And so, and also to define an NFT really quickly for those out there who don't know, it's again a digital asset. All it is at the end of the day is an asset tied to an ID. And what makes it special is that ID is special to the asset. So you can never change it, duplicate it, or delete it. It's always going to be stored on a blockchain. That's why value is imbued in it, because that entity, that little asset that's been created, be it art, a book, what have you, a script even, will be extant forever. So hence the value. In terms of what's happening in the market, there's lots of things that are happening. There's the Beeple sale, Sotheby's is getting into the mix, Christie's is getting into the mix. So there's like these old school auction houses coming in now. Do your clients see that as a green light to go and have the conversations because the old school folks are coming in, or do they already have interest?
I think it runs the gamut, right? There are, we represent a broad array of clients. And I think some folks like to be first movers and really go and jump right into any sort of new medium that's out there, right? Not that you can really compare the two, but I mean, if you look a few years ago, even at the podcast space, right? we had a lot of clients who, like, oh, what are these things? Yeah, sure, maybe I'll jump into it. And then we had others who said, let's see how this all plays out. And now we've seen some of the biggest creators, in film and television jumping into the space in really sort of new, meaningful ways. So, I think it runs the gamut in that sense. But we definitely have clients who, are jumping into it right away. And then we have folks who are sort of sitting back and saying, let me take a second and see how this all plays out, and then jump in, because they don't need to rush into it.
For sure, for sure. So going forward and looking forward, there's all these players coming into the space, be it exchanges, be it the artists themselves, be it the agents themselves, and all the intermediaries coming through. How do you see this new world coming together? Do you think that the supply chain will stay the same? Do you think there'll be new players entering into the market, be it the exchanges or new creative agencies, or is it a wait and see?
I definitely think that there's new players coming into the market. I think the creative sort of agency side, for sure. We're seeing folks that are out there that, nobody really has, long experience in the space, right? I mean, you're not going to really go to an agency and say, show me all of your creds in terms of the NFTs you've released in the last 2 years, because in most cases, while yes, they've been around, in most cases, at least, the types of NFTs that we're talking about that are talent driven, they don't really exist, those case studies. So, I think you see, you see shops that really pop up and who's sort of entrepreneurial and scrappy in this space and really sort of doing great jobs. And those are the folks that, you try to go and work with. And, I think across the board, this is just a space where, there's new players popping up every day. And so, you look at were these folks experts in what they were doing, if they were doing sort of creative work, but outside of the NFT space, were they experts in that? Were they producers, right? At the end of the day, if you sort of liken what releasing an NFT is to the film and television industry, you're producing a piece of content, releasing that content, and then marketing that content. And the same thing happens across the board in film and TV, and with live events and with, concerts and, concerts being promoted. So, I look at a company like Medium Rare, for example, who, is a creative agency in the space that, had never done anything in the NFT space before, but had worked with Rob Gronkowski. So they approached him to sort of do something in the space, and obviously had a very successful sort of drop, and, made a name for themselves. And I think it's that sort of scrappy entrepreneurial attitude, and sort of those are the types of folks that I think, we in talent are all sort of excited about working with.
That's amazing. I just want to point out to the audience, we are live, but because my video turned off, and you're going to see that. So there you go. In terms of so I was going to ask you, and you already kind of went down the path, but what is your favorite project that you see right now in the space?
It's a very good question. What is my favorite project that I see right now in the space? I think talent driven, it hasn't been released yet, and it's something that I think is being worked on, that I can't share too many details. I think a lot of what we've seen, right, there's been exciting stuff out there, and the Weeknd's drop was pretty cool sort of to see, in terms of releasing a one-of-one song and everything that sort of went along with it. Obviously the Gronk cards just being sort of first to market was interesting to see how that all played out. I think the Golden State Warriors releasing their rings was obviously a pretty cool drop, and at a time when I think you had a lot of people saying, hey, the market is sort of dipped and evened out, and this was just a quick pop. To still see the success of something like that is important for us, and the types of folks that we'll be working with in the space. I think looking at obviously looking at sort of the CryptoPunk sale and all of that recently, alongside traditional art, I think is pretty cool to see. But yeah, there's some cool stuff coming up that I can't say too much about, but we've been sort of saying all along, there's the short-term stuff, and then there's the more so universe creators, so to say, right? The big filmmakers and folks who really are sort of building these universes, and those are what I think I'm most excited to see, the really sort of innovative stuff that is coming out soon.
Yeah, the market makers are coming. I think I was talking to a reporter today about the space, and he asked that question. He said, is the market over? We saw a dip. Does that mean anything? And I said, my answer was, I think they were hodling because Ether was going up. So at the end of the day, I agree with you. I think that the space is just getting started, and the market makers are coming in now, be it the tastemakers, the influencers, the folks who really drive culture. And it's really exciting to see. And you're at the forefront of that. So we can't wait to see what happens with CAA, your clients, and how we move forward. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you.
Of course.